Now that we have an understanding of what a bubble diagram is in terms of planning and architectural design, we're going to take a look at the next step, which is creating a rough plan on grid paper. Now, I'm going to take a moment and just click back into the project outline or project scope. So we've discussed bubble diagrams. You're completing a minimum of 3 different sets for the 4 rooms. Once you've finalized on what you like and what you want to develop further, we're working on the sketch on graph paper to scale. So we're using grid paper to do this, and our scale is 1 square is a 1/4 inch on the sheet of graph paper, so that 1/4 inch will equal 1 square foot. So that's our simple conversion for our scale. You should be able to fit this on a normal 8.5 by 11 piece of grid paper, and if you can't, you can always tape up another one to it with clear tape. And remember, our target is 625 square feet. So we have to be close to this. We don't have to be perfect because no builder is going to get it perfect. When the building crew comes and starts digging and laying down all the footings and foundations, they're not going to get it necessarily exactly 625 square feet, but they're going to get it pretty close. So that's what we're going to be doing. So we want to be within 2 square feet of that number to be considered a 10 out of 10. So let's go back. So if you have your bubble diagrams finalized, how do you know how large to design a room? Because you're new to designing. So I don't expect you to get a tape measure and start measuring random rooms in your home. There's an easier way to do this. Now, here, under Bubble Diagrams Exemplar, which we looked at last time, if you click into typical room sizes, there's a document here for your reference. Let's take a look at this. So this gives you a template to go by, which doesn't need to be followed exactly. This is just to help you. Typical room sizes in a small, average, and large. So we're looking at living room here. So this could be used as a sitting room, right? Same type of thing. We're not including a dining room. We are including a kitchen, but we know it's galley style. So these dimensions aren't exactly going to work perfectly for us, but it just helps you. Like, for example, in your galley kitchen, because we know that we're going to have a walkway in the middle of it, how large do you make that walkway? Well, I would say I would make it no less than 3 feet at the bare minimum. I wouldn't make it any less than that, or else people are going to be possibly squeezing through there. You could make it 3 feet 6 inches, 3 feet 9 inches, or you could even bring it up to 4 feet at the bare maximum. Right? So that's one that I can really talk specifically to. You know, we're not going to have a garage or a den. I know a family room can also be a living room. And we're not including closets. So, again, this document, you don't have to look at these numbers and think, oh, I have to use them exactly. No, this is just to help you. This is a guide. So, for example, if you wanted to figure out the square footage of a small living room, for example, how do you do that? Well, you multiply these numbers together. You would multiply 12 by 16, and that would give you the square footage. So if I did that, it would multiply out to 192. And I have 625 square feet to play with. So it should be quite simple to have all 4 of these rooms in our pool house and hit our 625 square foot target. Now it's up to you how you want to design your pool house. Do you want to go room by room? Do you want to figure out exactly first the size of your rooms, width times length, multiply your numbers, add them all up and see what you come up with? Or you could also start by figuring out the overall shape of the pool house. You could find 2 numbers, for example, that multiply together to get 625. Or you could just do it in two pieces. You could have like an L-shaped house. So you'd have two basic boxes that would multiply together to get you 625 square feet. So there's lots of ways that you can go about doing this. Now, I have an example that I created for you. And it's called Rough Plan Sketch here. And let's take a look at this description. So it says, after the shape of the rough plan has been determined, and this is hopefully done through bubble diagrams, and the square footage is within a 2 square foot allowance of 625, and the rooms have been roughed in pencil thick, the next steps are as follows. Add an exterior wall thickness that is 1 full grid space outside the perimeter of the pool house. 2, add an interior wall thickness that is half a square wide. You can offset your pencil a quarter square in either direction to achieve this, or offset a half a square on either side of your interior rooms that have been drawn in pencil thick. 3, rough in where your windows will be located. Single casement windows are 1 full square wide and are 2 squares long. Double casement windows are 4 squares long. Number 4, rough in where your exterior doors will be located. Exterior door openings are 3 squares long. Sliding patio doors are 6 squares long. Number 5, rough in where your interior doors will be located. Interior door openings are 3 squares long. The bathroom and storage rooms must be closed off rooms from the galley kitchen and sitting area. And lastly, number 6, in your galley kitchen, show countertop width. Countertops are 2 squares per side. This is an important step to make sure you have adequate space to walk through and use the kitchen. The space between countertops should be at least 3 squares wide. Now that's minimum, right? We can make it 3.5 squares, or we could go up to 3 3/4 or a full 4 squares, because a square is a square foot on our grid paper sketch. So everything that I've mentioned and written here is reflected in this exemplar that I've uploaded. Now, this is not for copying purposes. This is only for reference to help you with your design work. So let's rotate this. So here we go, the pool house. This is a rough plan. 625 square feet is the target. I don't think mine is exactly that, but it should be within about a square foot of it, I think the last time I checked it. This excludes exterior walls. So that means that when I count the square footage, I'm counting everything inside here. I am counting even the interior walls, but I am not counting the exterior walls. And this is what we're seeing along the perimeter. This thick perimeter line that's about a 1 grid space wide, this represents the exterior of the pool house. These smaller ones that are half a square wide represent the interior walls. All right, so that's very important to know. That is extremely important, because if you start counting exterior walls in your calculation, that is incorrect. All right, moving on. All right, so here's the legend that pretty much reflects everything that I had just discussed, right? Exterior wall thickness. This is what you see around the perimeter. It will be 1 square wide. Interior wall thickness, half a square. That's what we're seeing in this area. A single casement window, 2 squares. That's what we're seeing here. I've got a window in the bathroom, and it's the smallest we can make it. It's a single casement. This is how I want you to show windows in a rough plan. You can basically just block off their lengths and draw an X. We're going to make this look a lot more proper in the AutoCAD floor plan, because this is a rough plan. It should look neat and be sketched with a pencil and a ruler, but it's not going to be a full, beautiful final product, right? This is just to help us get started beyond the bubble diagrams. It's a step between bubble diagrams and starting on AutoCAD with the floor plan. And you don't have to put a window in your bathroom. You can leave it out, but it's not out of the ordinary to have a window in a bathroom. It may be an opaque style window that basically doesn't allow you to look in or out, but it lets natural light in. Or it could be a normal type of window. It doesn't really matter. Double casement windows are 4 squares long. That's what we're seeing here, right? So we have 1, 2, 3. I've got one in the galley kitchen here, and I've got some here and here, right? So I'm favoring double casement windows. And you're going to notice that you can start these windows. They don't have to basically start right on a grid line. You can offset them a bit. That's what I've done with these, right? But so this shows a half a square here, a half a square here, and then 3 squares in the middle. That's the same as 4, right? So you can position them anywhere you like. I'm trying to get them to be fairly centered in my sketch that I've created. Countertop, 2 squares. So this is the galley kitchen, and it will not have a door attached to it. This will be open space between the sitting area or sitting room and the galley kitchen. So you can walk in and out of here, and this represents counters on both sides. And again, this is 1 full square plus a half on each side equals 2. And so how much space do I have to walk through the galley kitchen? Or my clients, I should say. 1, 2, 3. That's 3 feet. Plus a half is 4. So I wouldn't really make it, this is the maximum. You can have it smaller. You could only have it 3 if you'd like. You could have it 3.5, 3 3/4, but no more than 4. I think 4 feet is pretty generous on a galley kitchen. So that's what I'm showing here is the maximum open space. This is very comfortable for someone to get in and out of and walk around in. But again, no less than 3, because then it's going to become too cramped in there. And lastly, 3 square openings represent exterior interior doors. So this is where we enter the pool house through the sitting area. There's 6 spaces here because I'm going to be putting 2 exterior doors, a double acting exterior doors here. That's why there's 6 spaces. Here is going to be a sliding patio door. So again, I've left 6 open spaces for this. In the AutoCAD plan, these open areas will be closed off, showing doors properly as per an architectural drawing. And the storage room has a door that can be entered through the sitting area, and we can also add a door on the exterior to be able to access it from outside. It's limiting to only have the storage area be able to be accessed from one location. So here's a little piece of advice. You should make 2 doors accessible, one from the inside, one from the outside, but you're the designer, so I'm leaving it up to you. But this must be closed off, so we need to close this off with doors. The bathroom also must be closed off with a door. So here is where my door will sit for my bathroom. Notice how I keep the openings fairly close to an adjacent wall. I'm not just roughing out 3 squares in the middle, because I want my door to swing open against this wall. I want my bathroom door to swing open against this wall. So there's some thought process here. So think about this kind of thing when you're creating your rough plan. So to figure out the square footage, for basically this entire pool house, which is a fairly basic shape. I mean, it doesn't have to be basic like you see here. I basically just have one bump out here at the bottom. So to do the calculation, I basically need to do two separate calculations, right? This little box here that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is just one line wide. So this is basically, this area here is 8 square feet, right? And basically this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this one is 6, this one is 8. So that's 14 right there. That'll have to be added in after the fact once I multiply the interior space of the width and length in this larger rectangle, right? So I'm basically counting the amount of squares starting here, ending all the way to the right, and then counting from here all the way up to the top, and I multiply that number together, those numbers together, and that's going to give me some square feet. Then at the end, I can add in this last part right here, this 14, and see what I come up with. So for example, this bathroom, if I want to figure out the square feet of this bathroom, by itself, not counting the interior wall, mind you, but I will be counting it in the overall calculation, I would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I multiply that together, and I'm going to get 70, right? So just basically from the inside of the exterior wall to the inside of this interior wall, and so on down here, this would be 70, right? So if you want to design your space room by room, that's one way that you can do it. But remember, you have to be within 2 square feet of 625 when you're doing this kind of rough planning. So this is going to take a little bit of thinking, right? How do you want, you have to think about how you want the pool house to look and how you're going to position the rooms. So hopefully you've done the bubble diagrams, because the bubble diagrams are really going to help you kind of get this process going. If you have not done any bubble diagrams yet, this process becomes more complicated. If you don't have any grid paper at home, you can click here and you can download this one, and you can work, and you can download it and print it, and you can work on this at home. All you need is a pencil and a ruler, and that should be enough to get you going and complete this, right? You have your grids to help you. We know that one space here represents 1 square foot. Very easy scale conversion for our pool house planning. But that is going to conclude this lesson. So this is what you're going to be working on next. Don't forget to refer to the typical room sizes as well. This is a great resource to give you a hand while you're working on this planning and design work. And I'm going to sign off for now. Wish you luck and talk to you later. Take care for now.